Yeah, so this Shabbos is a rare Shabbos for several reasons. One is we lane Parsha Shkolim, which in general is laned together with Parshas Mishpatim. So reading Shkolim together with Truma is unusual to the extent that the last time this happened was in Tafshin Nun Daled 31 years ago. Since then it hasn't happened. And the next time is in Tough Hey. In any case, it's also Truma, it's also Rosh Chodesh, and it's also Shkolim. So we lay in three kriyas in the Torah, and we take out three Sifrei Torah, like Rabbi Yitzchak Nafcha says in Megillah Daf Chavtes, that when you're laying three parshas in the Torah, you take out three Sifrei Torah. So it's a bit hard to decide what to pick and choose to talk about. So we'll talk about the common denominator of all three. So the parsha begins with Vayidaba Hashem al Moshe le'medaber el bnei Yisrael v'yikchu li truma me'eis kol ish asher yidvenu liboy tikchu es trumasi v'zois ha-truma asher tikchu me'itam zo v'chesef v'nechoshes, etc. So we're talking about the collection of the materials that we need in order to build the structure of the Mishkan, the Klei Mishkan, and the Big Day Kahuna. Rashi stellt sich on the fact that the Torah repeats the word Truma three times over here. V'yikuli Truma, tichu es Trumasi, v'zois ha-Truma, shetikchu me'itam. By the way, the word Truma is a unique word, unique biblical word that has no translation because it doesn't just mean a portion or a donation or a giving, but it's a lashon of uplifting, tarit laharim, and expressing the idea that when a person gives from his own to litzorich gavoya, he's lifting up what he's giving. He's lifting it up from the secular mundane sphere and bringing it up to kedusha, to mitzvahs. That probably just like in Hafrashas Truma, the Hafrashas Truma impacts all the Shirayim. Until now, it was Tevel, it was Asur B'Achila. Now it becomes Mutter B'Achila. So also when a person gives from his own L'tzorech Gavoya, it redefines everything that he has. It becomes Shirayim of the Kedusha. In any case, Rashi wants to know why the Torah repeats the word Truma three times, and he says, Amru Rabbi Seinu, Gimel Trumais Amurais Kan. There are three Trumas mentioned over here. Achas Trumas Beka Lagul Goiles, Shenasu Mehen Ha'adonim, K'meish Mefurish, Be'ela Pekudei. In other words, there were three collections, and they appear in the Torah in various places. In Parshas Pekudei, the Torah tells us about the Beka Lagul which is actually a Machzis HaShekel, because Beka is a half of of a shekel, and Beka Lagul is Machzis HaShekel. In other words, in any case, they gave a beka lagulgoilas. Everybody gave a beka for what? For the adonim, for the sockets in which the krushim were placed. And there was also va'achas trumas hamizbeach, which is what Parsha Shkolim is talking about. Beka lagulgoilas, the kupos liknois mehen korbanos tzibur. That's the machzis hashekel of Parsha Shkolim. Va'achas trumas hamishkon. And one is the Trumas HaMishkan, Nidvas Kol Echad Ve'echad Shehisnadvu, which is what Parshas Truma is talking about. And Rashi says, V'achas Trumas HaMishkan, Nidvas Kol Echad Ve'echad Shehisnadvu, Yud Gimel Dvarim Ha'amurim Be'inyan, the 13 things that I mentioned over here. V'zohov, V'chesef, U'nechoshes, V'chol HaMenuyim Be'inyan, Kulam hutzruchu lemeleches hamishkan oy lebigdei kohuna keshitedakteik bohen. So, this is just as an aside. there's a famous problem because if you look into the psukim, you count there are 15 things mentioned over here, not 13. So the Re'im, the Guraria, the Sifsei Chachamim, they offer two explanations. One is that the Tcheles, Argomon, and Toilas Shoni are counted as one because they're all wool, just different colors. And another suggestion is that the Avnei Shoyam and Avnei Miluim that came from the Nesiim, and not from the rest of Klal Yisrael, are not included in the number. But I think that there's a poshtub shot because Rashi says, Kulam hutzrichu lemeleches hamishkan or lebigdei kahuna kishetidaktek behen. What in the world does that mean? Kishetidaktek behen. If you'll be medaktik, you'll see. Well, what are you going to see? So I think that the pshat is that there are 13 things over here that were used for the building of the structure of the Mishkan and for the Bigdei Kahuna. But there are another two that are an exception to the rule, and that's the Besamim, L'Shem and HaMishcha, L'Kteres HaSamim. These came for avodas that took place in the Mishkan, not L'Meleches HaMishkan, and not L'Bigdei Kahuna. So Rashi says that there's 13 things that came L'Meleches HaMishkan L'Bigdei Kahuna Kishet Tidaktek Behem. If you look carefully, you'll see that there are only 13. What's the meaning and significance of this is for another time. But in any case, this is just as an aside. But Rashi, in other words, brings in the name of Chazal that the Torah repeats over here 3 times. Truma, to allude to the other 2 Trumos that are not said over here. Which other 2 Trumos? The Machzis HaShekel and Parshas Kisisa for Karbonis Tzibur, and the Bekal HaGulgolos and Parshas Pikudei for the Adonim. But since we're only talking over here about the Truma for the building of the structure of the Mishkan, why would the Torah over here allude to the other 2 Trumas that we're not talking about over here? So the Maharal in the Guraria says, V'im toimar, achas sheloi pirish kan rak truma achas, since he only spells out 1 Truma, shehi trumas moleches ha-mishkan, lama hizkir shara trumas, the einam sheyachim lekan. Omnom lefi asher amarnu lamala in the previous piece, Havi Shapir. Based on what we said, it's good. Shetrumas choiva koidemas. Something that you're obliged to do comes before something that you volunteer to do. She'ein svare, she'yitein shel nedava koidem. V'shema lo yeh lo shel choiva. Maybe you'll spend everything on the nedava and you won't have what you need in order to be mekayim your chiyuv. Ulefichach kosav kan shel choiva, loyma lahem, she'oid titnu choiva. You're still going to have to give choiva. Shelo yiten hakol l'nedava. Don't give it all away l'nedava. V'lo yeh lo shel choiva. V'amar lahem she'afrishu koidem shel choiva. So, in the beginning, the Tchilas HaLashon of the Maharal is not clear. What does he exactly mean? That they were told that there will be other collections which will be choiva, and therefore they shouldn't spend everything they have now, or they were actually told to make a hafrosha, to set it aside. The Soif HaLashon of the Maharal is v'amar lahem she'afrishu koidem shel choiva. And in the previous ois, he writes mafurish that they set aside the Machzis HaShekel for the Karbonis and the Machzis HaShekel for the Adonim before they gave the Truma of our Parsha. It's kind of interesting because Avada, the Seder HaParshi is not mashma. Since the Tzivui is said later, so we should say that the Tzivui was really before. It's a big chiddush. It's a big chiddush. I mean, and Bechlal that before even they were told, before they're building the Mishkan, they would already be mafresh for the karbonis that will be in the Mishkan. Is a big chiddush. Maybe we can suggest as follows. Be'emes, we first of all need to understand what's the why are all the materials that they used for the Mishkan came as an adava? came, from based on the generosity of every individual. Me'ez kol ish asher yidvenu liboy. Only somebody whose heart motivates him gave it. But the Adonim, the sockets that held the Kroshim, they were obligatory. They were a chayva. Everybody had to give a bekal agulgoilis. So how should we understand that? That the Kroshim, the Urias, all the other parts of the structure came binedova. The Adonim were a chayva. Now, the fact that all the materials of the Mishkan came binedova is l'chayra, like it says, legabe the Beis Hamikdash that Shlomo HaMelech built. It says in Shir Hashirim Gimel Tes, Apiryoin oso loy HaMelech Shlomo me'atzei halavonoi. Yeah, you'll have to look in in an scroll to get the exact translation, but the idea is that it's talking about the Beis Hamikdash, and we say he built it with atzei halavonoin, cedars of Lebanon, amud of oso kesef, he made pillars of silver, rifidosoi zohov, merkovoi argomon, toichoi, rotzuf ahava mibnois Yerushalayim. So the pshat is that the mikdash is a physical structure, and it's made out of all kinds of natural materials. But what gives it meaning is the ahava that it's built with. The toichoi, the essence, is rotzuf ahava. There's amudim, and there's atzei halavonoin, and there's yeriyos. But what's it really all about? The toichem is the ahava mibnois Yerushalayim. So we understand that the Mishkan needs to come from me'ez kol ish asher yidvenu liboy, is the generosity of spirit. I mean, that's what makes the Mishkan. But nevertheless, the Adonim are a chayva. Why? What does that mean? It would seem that one of the messages, at least, is that, the generosity of spirit is very important. Without it, we're lacking the toichen, the pnimius. But nedivus alev is not everything. Meaning to say, you can't rely on inspiration and the awakening of the inner spirit. The somebody whose kiyum haTorah v'amitzvahs is based on inspiration, based on love, is on shaky ground, right? And therefore, in spite of the fact that all the materials of the Kroshim and the Urias came benedava, which wasn't obligatory, but the Adonim, which is what the entire Mishkan rests on, the foundation has to be chayva. The foundation has to be obligatory, because you can only build the ava on top of the foundation of chayva. And so also in the karbonis, which are all about, carbon is a lotion of kiruv, hiskarvus to the Rabbeinu Shalom. The individual brings from his own money a carbon nedava, and that's praiseworthy. But the karbonis tzibur are kavua, are consistent. We're talking about a framework which never changes, In other words, the first and foremost of the karbonis tzibur, which is the hiskarvus of the tzibur, is the carbon tamid that we bring every day, tamid, all the time. So the machzas hashekel from which we bring the karbonis tzibur is a chayva. It doesn't hinge on inspiration. It doesn't depend on personal motivation. Every individual is chayav in this every single day, rain or shine. Yeah, and all the personal karbonis, all the personal hiskarvus into the Rebbeinu Shalom, all the karbonis, as a fact, are korev within this framework between the two tmidim. We have the Oila Rishona, the Tamid Shel Shachar, and on the other hand, we have the Aleha Hashlem. The first is the Tamid Shel Shachar, the last is the Tamid Shel Ben Arbaim. All the other kiruvim are within the mizgeres of the tamid, of the consistent, of the obligatory, of the daily. And we always, in other words, we're always emphasizing how important it is to preserve and maintain consistency and commitment. So therefore it could be that immediately in the beginning of Parashas Terumah, when we're talking about the Nidvas HaMishkan, that comes as an Edava, Me'ez Kol Ish Asher Yidvenu Libo, the Torah immediately alludes to the fact that there are three Terumas. Don't think that this sums it up. I mean, Me'ez Kol Ish Asher Yidvenu Libo is the full story. It's not so. There are three Terumas, and only this one is Me'ez Kol Ish Asher Yidvenu Libo, but the two others are Chayva, because you can't rely on inspiration and on a divus halev. Without commitment, everything can fall apart. The challenge is to bring the inspiration and the ava into the frame of consistency that preserves it. In the so this year we read Terumah together with Shekalim. I mean, so it's even more emphasized, it's even more highlighted that the Shekalim and the Terumah are two sides of the same coin. I mean, not literally, but in other words, that the consistency and the Nedivus Halev have to come together. Parshas Terumah is the Nedivus Halev, and Parshas Shekalim is the consistent, obligatory, daily chiyuv that we do the Machzah Shekel and we bring the Korbanos Tzibur every day. And this is also expressed in the Kriya of Rosh Chodesh. You know, the Kriya of every Rosh Chodesh, we begin with the Parshas HaTamid. The beginning of the Kriya, the first three aliyahs, is Savas B'nai Yisrael, Amar Talem, Eskobani Lachmi, Le'isher, Yechni Choichi, Tishmeru, Lahakiv, Libe Mayade, and we talk about the Shnaim, La'yoim, La'samid, and only in the end, the Revi, we read the Me'in Yerush Chodesh, B'rashi Chodshechem, Takrivu, Oilo, La'Hashem, Porim B'nai Bakar Shnai. So, I mean, there's a technical reason, because there's a minimum amount of 10 psukim that we need for Kriyas HaTorah, but Avada, it also has a deeper meaning. Rosh Chodesh is about renewal. It's about hischachus. As we say in Kiddush Levana, that Yidden are compared to the Levana, Shehei Masidim lehischadesh kemoisa. That Yidden will be mischadesh like the Levana. So hischachus, renewal, is very important, but it needs to be attached to the Tamid. The renewal of the spirit, if it's detached from the tamid, from the choiva, it is even dangerous at times. So it has to be la'oilas ha'chodesh asher la'oilas ha'tamid. We say v'hoyu advarim ha'ela asher anochi mitzavecha hayoyim al levavecha v'shinamtem levanecha v'dibartem bo b'shivtecha v'veisecha v'lechtecha v'derech v'shach b'chol v'kumecha. What's al levavecha? On your heart. The Torah should be in the heart. They say in the name of the Chodesh Harim that Torah needs to be put on the heart all the time. So if you'll have a good moment, I get them in it, it'll go in. Yes, so really, what's the context of this? We're talking over here about ongoing, continuous limud HaTorah. V'shivtecha b'veisecha, u'v'lechtecha v'derech, u'v'shach b'cha v'kumecha, all the time. And it's really hard that every day, in every state of mind, I mean, Torah should be bilvavecha. And therefore the Torah tells us that the value of the ongoing consistency that's obligatory is really that it should be at least alavavecha. True, it's not always going to penetrate your heart, but keep it going, keep it alavavecha. And then, as Rashi says, Asher anochi mitzavecha hayoim al levavecha. Rashi says, Lo yiyu beinecha ti kedyud keme chadot yeshana she'ein adam soifna. So you want to know what Yugtime is? Rashi himself explains. Yugtime, mitzvahs hamelech haba b'michtav. Anyway, a letter from the king, an old letter, people don't get excited about. A new letter, they get excited about. Hakol Ratzim L'Krosa, and the Torah expects us to treat Torah as a Yudkime Chadosha, as a new letter. In other words, it should always be as Anoichi Mitzavacha Hayoim Al Levavecha. But on the other hand, it's B'Shivtecha B'Veisecha, L'Achtecha B'Derecha, B'Shavcha B'Mecha. It's all the time. It's day in, day out. So really, that's what makes it so hard, that we should have that attitude and that approach and that feeling. And therefore the Torah says, I know it's not always going to be that way, and therefore just make sure that it's alav avecha. But if you'll keep on doing it alav avecha, you'll reach a point where it will penetrate and where you'll become excited about it and where it will become asher anoichi mitzavacha hayoim. Asher anoichi mitzavacha hayoim. That's the goal. The goal is that it should really transform us. The Gemara says in Zvachim that the Talmud of Rosh Chodesh, the Gemara says in Zvachim Daf Tzadik Aleph, also has the Kedusha, the Talmud of Rosh Chodesh also has the Kedusha of Rosh Chodesh. As the Gemara says, Otu Rosh Chodesh lemusafi didei ahani. Do you think Rosh Chodesh only helps for its musafim, litmidi loyahani? It doesn't upgrade the Talmud. In other words, the tachlis of the Chodesh is not just b'mkoimai v'shaitai. The tachlis of the Chodesh is to be mechadish the Talmud, and that's why it's la'olas ha-Chodesh asher la'olas ha-Talmud. Once in a while we have moments, special moments, but the special moments are there in order to make every moment special, in order that we experience every day the hischatshus. Ba'ofen that Nedivus Alev is the toichoy rotzuf ahava of the Mishkan, but the Adonim that it all stands on is the choiva. That's what preserves it, and that's what has to constantly be going on in order that the ahava should be maintained and should be developed, and the karbonas tzibur also are a choiva, machzis hashekel oshel yarbe v'adal yamit. But with all that, there needs to be the me'es kol ish asher yidvenu liboy. Rabbi Say, having said that, I wish you a freilich and chodesh adar. And no, and I got the Shabbos, and everything good. Okay.